The following is a timeline of the history of the city of Chicago, Illinois, United States. Early America, 1673, French-Canadian explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet, on the way to Quebec, pass through the area that will become Chicago. 1677, Father Khaled Alias arrived to try to convert the natives to Christianity. 1682, French explorer René Robert Cavelier, Sieur de La Salle, passes through Chicago en route to the mouth of the Mississippi River. 1696, Jesuit missionary François Pinet founds the mission of the Guardian Angel. It is abandoned 4 years later. 1705, conflicts develop between French traders and the Fox tribe of Native Americans. 1780s, Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable establishes Chicago's first permanent settlement near the mouth of the Chicago River. 1795, 6 square miles of land at the mouth of the Chicago River are reserved by the Treaty of Greenville for use by the United States. 1796, Kittihawa du Sable's Potawatomi Indian wife delivers Eulalia Point du Sable, Chicago's first recorded birth. 19th century, 1800s, 1840s, 1803, the U.S. Army constructs F.D. Dearborn near the mouth of the Chicago River. 1812, June 17, Jean Lalime is killed by John Kinsey, making him the first recorded murder victim in Chicago. August 15, the Battle of Fort Dearborn. 1816, the Treaty of St. Louis is signed in St. Louis, Missouri. F.D. Dearborn is rebuilt. 1818, December 3, Illinois joins the Union. 1830, August 4, Chicago is surveyed and platted for the first time by James Thompson. 1837, C.D. Peacock Jewelers was founded. It is the oldest Chicago business still operating today. Chicago receives its first charter. Rush Medical College is founded 2 days before the city was chartered. It is the first medical school in the state of Illinois which is still operating. 1840, July 10, Chicago's first legally executed criminal, John Stone, was hanged for the rape and murder of Lucretia Thompson, a farmer's wife. Population 4,470. 1847, June 10, the first issue of the Chicago Tribune is published. 1848, Chicago Board of Trade opens on April 3 by 82 local businessmen. Illinois and Michigan Canal opens and traffic begins moving through the city at a much higher rate. Galena and Chicago Union Railroad enters operation, becoming the first railroad in Chicago. 1850s, 1890s, 1850, population 29,963. 1851, Chicago's first institution of higher education, Northwestern University, is founded. 1852, Mercy Hospital becomes the first hospital in Illinois. 1853, October, State Convention of the Colored Citizens held in city. 1854, a cholera epidemic took the lives of 5.5% of the population of Chicago. 1855, April 21, Lagobia riot. 1856, Chicago Historical Society founded. 1857, E1 Rise and Amp Co., Chicago's oldest family-owned business, opens. Still in operation today, it is the oldest family-owned tobacco shop in the country. Matthias A. Klein and Amp Sons, still family-owned and run today by 5th and 6th generation Kleins. 1860, September 8, the Lady Elgin disaster. Population 112,172. 1866, Chicago Academy of Design founded. 1867, construction began on the water tower designed by architect W. Borington. 1868, Rand McNally is formed as a railway guide company. 1870, population 298,977. 1871, October 8, October 10, The Great Chicago Fire. 1872, Montgomery Ward in business. 1878, Chicago Academy of Fine Arts established. Conservator newspaper begins publication. 1880, Polish National Alliance headquartered in city. 1881, Unsightly Beggar Ordinance effected. 1885, Home Insurance Building is world's first skyscraper. 1886, May 4, the Haymarket Riot. 1887, Newberry Library established. 1889, Hull House founded. 1890, the University of Chicago is founded by John D. Rockefeller. 1892, June 6, the Chicago and South Side Rapid Transit Railroad, Chicago's first L line, went into operation. Masonic Temple is for 2 years the tallest building in the world, using highest occupied floor criteria. 1893, May 1, October 30, the World's Columbian Exposition, World's Parliament of Religions held. October 28, Mayor Carter Harrison, Sr., was assassinated by Patrick Eugene Prendergast. Sears, Roebuck and Company in business. First Ferris wheel built by George Washington Gale Ferris Jr. Art Institute of Chicago building opens. Universal Peace Congress held. Chicago Civic Federation founded. 1894, May 11, August 2, the Pullman strike. Zenske Listy Women's Magazine begins publication. 1896-1896, Democratic National Convention held. Bryan delivers Cross of Gold speech. A Benny Beauty Shop and Tons and Sisters photo studio in business. 1897, the Union Loop elevated is completed. 1899, Municipal Art League founded. Carson, Peary, Scott and Company building constructed. 20th century, 1900s, 1940s, 1900, Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal opens. The Chicago River is completely reversed. Municipal Reference Library active. Population 1,698,575. 1903, December 30, Iroquois Theatre Fire City Club of Chicago formed. 1905, the Industrial Workers of the World was founded in June. Chicago Defender newspaper begins publication. 1906, the Chicago White Sox defeated the Chicago Cubs in the only All-Chicago World Series. Sinclair's fictional The Jungle published. 1907, Adolph Kroc opens a bookstore which will evolve into Crocs and Brentanos. 1908, the Chicago Cubs win the World Series for the second year in a row. Bingo Bank in business. 1909, Burnham's Plan of Chicago presented. 1910, population 2,185,283. Wabash Avenue YMCA opens. 1914, Alpha Suffrage Club active. 1915, July 24, the SS Eastland disaster. 1916, rebuilding of the American fort. 1918, Michaud Film and Book Company in business. 1919, July 27, the Chicago race riot of 1919. Real estate broker Archibald Teller opened the first Fannie Mae candy store. 1922, Chicago Council on Global Affairs established. 1925, Goodman Theater established. The Tribune Tower was completed on Michigan Avenue. The building's large Gothic entrance contains pieces of stone from other famous buildings: Westminster Abbey, Cologne Cathedral, the Alamo, the Taj Mahal, the Great Pyramid, and the Arc de Triomphe. 1927, originally called the Chicago Municipal Airport, Chicago Midway International Airport opened. It was renamed in 1949 designed to honor the Battle of Midway in World War II. Midway was the world's busiest airport until 1959. 1929 February 14th, the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Oscar De Priest becomes U.S. Representative for Illinois' 1st Congressional District. 1930 May 12th, Adler Planetarium opened, through a gift from a local merchant Max Adler. It was the first planetarium in the Western Hemisphere. May 30th, Shed Aquarium opens. The Merchandise Mart was built for Marshall Field and Amp Co. The $32 million, 4.2 million square foot building was the world's largest commercial building. It was sold to Joseph P. Kennedy in 1945. 1933, March 6, Mayor Anton Cermak was killed while riding in a car with President-elect Roosevelt. The assassin was thought to have been aiming for Roosevelt. 1933–34, Century of Progress World's Fair. 1934, July 22, John Dillinger was shot by the FBI in the alley next to the Biograph Theatre. 1935, January 19, Cooper's Inc. sells the world's first briefs. J. Bowanger of the University of Chicago is awarded the very first Heisman Trophy. 1938, Community Fact Book begins publication. 1944, premiere of Williams' play The Glass Menagerie. 1945, Ebony magazine begins publication. 1948, Chicago Daily Sun and Times newspaper begins publication. 1950s, 1990s, 1950, Chess Records in business. 1954, Johnson Products Company in business. 1955, the first McDonald's franchise restaurant, owned by Ray Kroc, opened in the suburb of Des Plaines. 1958, December 1st, Our Lady of the Angels School fire. The last streetcar ran in the city. At one time, Chicago had the largest streetcar system in the world. 1959, Second City Comedy Troupe active. 1960, September 26, Nixon-Kennedy televised presidential debate held. The first of the Playboy clubs, featuring bunnies, opened in Chicago. 1963, Donald Rumsfeld becomes U.S. Representative for Illinois' 13th Congressional District. 1967, January 26, January 27, major snowstorm deposits 23 inches of snow, closing the city for several days. 1968, August 26, August 29, 1968, Democratic National Convention. 1969, October, Weathermen's anti-war demonstration. December 4, Black Panther Fred Hampton assassinated. The Chicago 8 trial opens. The 100-floor John Hancock Center was built. 1970, Soul Train television program begins broadcasting. Casa Aztlan founded. 1971, Segundo Ruiz Belvis Cultural Center founded. 1972, Vietnam Veterans Against the War headquartered in Chicago. 1973, Sears Tower, the tallest building in the world for next 30 years, was completed. 1974, Steppenwolf Theatre Company founded. 1977, Chicago Marathon begins. 1978, heavy snowstorm and city's perceived slow response lead to upset of incumbent mayor. First BBS goes online on February 16. 1979, May 25, the American Airlines Flight 191 crashes. Chicago's first female mayor, Jane M. Byrne, takes office. Woodstock Institute headquartered in city. 1983, Harold Washington became the first African-American mayor. Ordinance banning handguns takes effect. Heartland Institute headquartered in city. 1986, Oprah Winfrey's Harpo Productions, Inc. in business. The Chicago Bears win Super Bowl 20. 1988 lights are installed in Wrigley Field. Christian Peacemaker teams headquartered in city. 1990 population 2,783,726. 1992 April 13th the Chicago flood. 1995 the Chicago heat wave of 1995. Your Radio Playhouse begins broadcasting. Crocs and Brent Arno's, once the largest privately owned bookstore chain in the U.S., closes. 1996 City website online. 1998 the Chicago Bulls won the 6th NBA championship in 8 years. 21st century. 2001 Chicago International Speedway is open. 2002 Lakeview Polar Bear Club founded. 2003 Mex Field closed. Chicago Film Archives founded. 2004 Millennium Park opens. 2005 the Chicago White Sox win the first World Series in 88 years. 2006 May 1 the 2006 U. Cloudgate artwork installed in Millennium Park. 2008 November 4 U.S. President-elect Barack Obama makes his victory speech in Grant Park. 2010 June 28 U.S. Supreme Court case McDonald v. City of Chicago decided, overturns city handgun ban. Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup. City of Chicago data portal launched. Population 2,695,598. 2011 Rahm Emanuel becomes mayor. Population 2,707,120. Metro 9,504,753. 2012 38th G8 Summit and 2012 Chicago Summit to take place in Chicago. 2013 Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup, scoring 2 goals in 17 seconds to defeat the Boston Bruins. Robin Kelly becomes U.S. Representative for Illinois' 2nd Congressional District. 2014 November 2nd Wallander performs high wire stunt. 2015 Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup yet again for the 3rd time in 6 years, establishing a Puck dynasty nationwide and arguably becoming the best team in the NHL. 2016 protesters successfully disrupt a rally for presidential candidate Donald Trump.